Okay, so welcome to our first podcast. Welcome, welcome. So I know for a fact I'm from Intertwine Healing. My name is Rika, and then I have tonight here with me my podcast buddy would be Paolo Reorizo. MMA fighter. So, before we get started, I want to go ahead and give us a little bit of a background introduction of who we are, what we're doing, and what's our purpose, what's happening here, why we decided to have this podcast. So, Paula, I'm going to take it up to you. Give yourself a little introduction for the people who wants to see this.
Hi, my name is Paolo Reorizo. I am a amateur MMA fighter currently, 3-0 in the regional scene, and I'm joining here Rika, who is also my aunt slash big sister. But um, but yeah, we just thought about this idea of collaborating on different topics of spirituality, um, because we're all spiritual beings and living in a physical world, so helping spread the word and helping other people understand their spirituality as well.
Right. But also on the top of that, the reason why we did decided to do this podcast is because we want to talk about certain topics that people are like not understanding, like cultural backgrounds. Of course, spirituality is one of the best things that to talk about in topics. It's very controversial. Who doesn't like controversial though? Don't we agree?
That's true.
Uh,
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So who doesn't like controversial, right? I mean, this could be a controversial topic or this could be a peaceful topic. Who knows, right? So today we want to go ahead and talk about cultural differences. So one of the things that kind of brought into my mind, I did a little bit of meditating earlier. So about my background, if everybody wants to know, I'm pretty sure you guys saw my YouTube channel. If you guys haven't, please subscribe to that. Subscribe to our podcast as well too, and Paulo's YouTube as well because he has his own channel. So show us some love. We definitely appreciate it. So, more than likely, I'm intertwined healing and therapy. So, I have been working with Paulo for quite some time, and I've actually helped him out flourish into his mental and emotional well being. So, this is one of the biggest reasons why we decided a partnership in podcasting because we want to cover some of the things that we always talk about, and we always believed it's always something really good and we're just like, how come we're not getting educated by this? How come we're not being aware by this? Right. So, and a lot of the times people get so caught up in the controversies, but nobody really understands the background of it. Like, for example, speaking of controversials, let's talk about cultural situations, right? So, Paulo and I are Filipinos, so obviously, I'm pretty sure there's other people out there and then different diversities that are like basically talking about different cultural differences as well. So, I want to go ahead and talk about that modern versus traditional cultural background. So, obviously, generation wise, I'm a millennial. Paulo, are you a millennial as well too, or are you Gen Z?
Considered a millennial as well, yes.
Oh, you're a millennial as well. Okay, so
Yeah.
obviously, but you're kind of in the cusp of a Gen Zer type, right?
Yeah, I'm closer to, like, my I think my brother's 2 years younger, and I think he's a Gen Z.
Ah, okay, okay, all right. So,
Younger millennial.
so that makes a lot of sense. Well, since we're talking about the whole aspects of culture, I want to go ahead and have you start it off first. Like, what's been going on with you exactly? Since now you're an MMA fighter, I want to kind of dive into that a little bit. Like, what does the Filipino culture think about that? Because there's been a lot of hoopla talks of like you go to school, you get educated, and then you go to work. That's the type of cultural mindset that we've been kind of accustomed to. But you and I broke those social norms. That's not really what's typically happening right now. So, what's happening in your world? And what do you think is happening in your cultural background in that state of mind?
Yeah, so a little background from me is, yeah, I think every Filipino can understand, like, your parents, we're in the United States, so your parents migrate here from the Philippines to have a better life and to give you better opportunities here. Um, but I think they're so skewed in their ways of understanding what a better opportunity is. So they, like you said, they think that you should go to college, get a good paying job, start a family, buy a house, but being born here and being growing up here, you find out that there's a lot more other opportunities other than that specific opportunity. Um, and I mean, even just understanding how the mind works, you understand like that is just it's very, I guess, one-sided. So yeah, I personally understood how the universe works, how my mind works, and that I can achieve bigger goals. Well, not saying that that's a smaller goal, but there's other things that I can accomplish, and that they may have never understood that aspect of the universe or how your mind works. So when you delve into this, worldview, um, it's what's the right word to say? I would say that they they think that I'm kind of going on the wrong path. I think.
Mm.
Um, like I'm saying, it's not like going on this path that I'm on is not the most prettiest journey. It's like it's hard, it's tough because there's times where you're going to be struggling, but it's the sacrifices that I'm willing to take, which are, and you know I think it's a harder path. I mean, because there's a lot of sacrifices. I could be very comfortable right now, but I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and achieving things that not many feel that they would achieve for themselves. But so yeah, now my parents, they mean well. I know they mean well, but I don't think they see the vision that I see for myself. And um, yeah, I think it's hard for them to accept because in the Philippines, I think when they were growing up, they they listen to their parents every word verbatim. Like whatever your parent says you should be doing, you're doing it, and if you don't, then you're kind of a disgrace to your family,
Mhm.
But over the years, like I know where they're coming from. They mean well. They want a good future for myself, but I feel like I can create a good future for myself not doing what they specifically want me to do. And I think going down this path for about 3 years now, after I graduated college, um, I could, I could, I could see when uh, it, I could see them becoming happy for me when they see more of it to manifest in front of me. Because right now it's kind of in the beginning stages, and it's hard for them to really say, "Oh, like, uh, you know, I'm proud of you." You know what I mean? Because it's still kind of hard for them to see that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, too, it's like I'm doing this for myself too. At the end of the day, because there's no one I should be trying to make proud except for myself. And I've always had this dream as a young kid. So knowing that I always wanted to be a professional athlete and pursuing that and not settling for anything less, I think they'll soon understand that. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough road. So, but I'm enjoying every part of it. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Even I'm grateful for the tough times too, because at the end of the day, it's gonna build my character. It's gonna be a story to tell when I finally get to the point where I want to be. And I understand like if I just stay close to, stay true to myself, stay true to whatever I got to do on a daily basis, and stand firm with God as well, because I think He's gonna ultimately guide me to where I need to be. But it's been a journey, and but yeah, that's pretty much a lot of the cultural things that I experienced lately. Um, but yeah.
Right. And thanks for sharing that with me because you know what? One of the things that I actually just discovered just now, right? One of the things that I've been seeing a lot lately because one of the things that I typically teach people is about the money mindset, right? Like taking yourself away from the scarcity mindset. That's one of the things that I usually teach. And today I actually came across a social media. I like Cody Sanchez. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she has just written a book called Main Street Millionaire. So I've actually read that book, and I would really recommend that anybody who has not read that book, please read that book. I want you to read that book, honestly. It actually changed my life. One of the things that I did see is definitely that in our social norms, in our cultural background, is that you ever heard of, you've ever seen Filipinos? I don't know if any Filipinos are watching this. I'm like, do you ever hear of them? Like you've ever seen in your family trying to see who can have the bigger house, the bigger cars, and the bigger everything? Tell me you don't agree. Agree to disagree on that one.
It's for sure apparent in my family too. Yes, like I think especially in like the Filipino culture, like all the titas want to have the best purses. You know, you see this all the time. They always show up with their Louis V's and that stuff. But I mean that like that's generic. I don't say like you could say that about a lot of Filipino families or titos like just doing everything to one up their brothers, or they want to brag about their kids doing this, brag about their kids doing that. Oh, my kid did this. Oh, my kid did that. So yeah, I know, I understand that. Like, and it's like you sacrifice your kids' happiness because you just want them to show up for to say that okay, my kid did that, but deep down, like your kid's not really happy of what they're doing. Yeah, it's kind of sad to say, but it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it is
yeah,
reality actually, because the reason why I brought that up is I was literally conditioned as a grown, I'm 40 years old now, right? By the way, I'm 39, I'm turning 40 in 2 months. So obviously I was conditioned with this mindset for quite some time. And this is so good to hear this for the young people like yourselves and also for the generation that I'm in right now, which is obviously the older millennials versus the younger millennials, right? So I literally just learned from back then when we were growing up. Oh, when you get your education, when you start working, then you go ahead and get married and buy a house. Nobody talks about the fact that, um, do you guys find yourself struggling like with monthly mortgages, or do you find yourself struggling in like with the broke mindset? How many of those people who did the exact system, but yet you're still hearing the same screaming of, I don't have enough money, or I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that? Please tell me if I'm wrong.
you're right. You're right.
Right. And it's funny to me because I was taught when you buy a house, you're gonna go ahead. This is the cultural norm, okay? And I hear this all the time from Filipinos. I'm not throwing any shades. If you bought a house, great. You know what I mean? Congratulations that you did that for yourself. It's a milestone. However, I just literally just learned this that a lot of millionaires and a lot of people who have a money mindset, they actually don't own a house. Not
Yeah,
one person owns a house. Not one.
I think I've heard this. Houses are assets to the bank, not to the person living in it,
Mm-hmm.
because you're collecting interest on your loan that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you're working your life away to pay off that mortgage. You won't be done with it until you're like almost retired.
Right.
Sometimes you even pay for it when you're retired too. So,
Mhm. Right.
mm,
And I'm pretty sure you hear it all the time from your parents, like, I don't have enough money, I'm still doing this, I'm still doing that. Like every single time they're complaining how much they're broke. But yet, this is the funny part of there's no self accountability in our culture sometimes is that these are the same people who saying they're so broke, they don't have enough money, but they're teaching our children the same exact formula. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I'm like, I'm not throwing shades out there, but I just want to find out if we can
yeah,
actually agree to that.
yes, I agree. I mean, I'm at the age where I mean, I've realized it, so I feel like I've cut away from that mindset. But yeah, no, I mean, it's yeah, that is true. They're just they think it well. I think personally, it's a comfortable way to live. It's like it's not so much. like I don't think it's a bad way to live, but it's a comfortable way to live. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you have a job that will pay for your loans, and you know you know that you'll have loans, but you'll have a comfortable paying job that will help you pay for all those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
so it's comfortability. Like at the end of the day, it's comfortability. People are comfortable living that life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to live that life. I mean, I think even some Filipinos, I've talked to a lot of Filipinos, and I think one thing too, it's a it's like a mindset too, because they say, oh, like money's the root of all evil. You just need to make enough to live your means, and you know, don't be greedy of that sort. But it's just, I think, yeah, it comes down to mindset, right? Mindset is everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but but no, yeah, I agree. I agree. We're trying to pass down that mindset, that idea,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And there's a solution that actually can start to think for themselves, and not only think for themselves, break out from it, and be brave enough to break out from it. Because some people are aware of it, but then they're not brave enough to break away from it because it's like it's unknown, right? So it's like, what can I do? Oh, like I'm gonna get criticized by my parents who I love so dearly, but you know what I mean? I mean, I think it is hard because I mean, when I broke away from what my parents were trying to teach me, it was hard, and it's still hard to this day. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's like when you understand where you could be versus, you know, you kind of picture yourself in two different avenues. Like if I listen to my parents or versus where I don't listen to my parents, and not so much not listen to them, but I see where I could also end up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen it done many times through other people that are there too, and you could see, you know, where your life could be as well. You know, you don't just see that the one the one option that they always tell you.
Right.
So
Exactly. And very proud of you for actually breaking that cycle because a lot of people are very hard to get out of that comfortability and going to the unknown situation. Like you took that chance. You know what I mean?
uh,
To take the unknown. How do you feel about that?
I think it's like I'm paving my own way, right? So if once I you know get more successful and I start paving my own way. Now I feel like when I have kids, they're gonna be like, oh, like it's gonna be easier for them to like say, okay, like I could do it too, you know. So it's like it was hard for me because in our family, like there's no one who really kind of showed me a path that I could do, become a fighter, you know, things of that nature, like become anything that I want to, that I could put my mind to. It was only people saying, be a nurse, be a physical therapist, be a
Be a
what else?
doctor.
Go to the military. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like those are
USPS.
oh like once you do that, you're successful. You know, but there's other options. You know, and I think in any like
But
I
yet we
think
have the
because so
same Titos that's working at the USPS is about to get laid off, by the way.
and it's like people say because there was a time in my life where I was like social media is bad, like we're getting flooded with ideas that are not possible, but I think you could use it the opposite way too, like where it shows you what is possible, um and if you can handle it responsibly and understand like okay, surround yourself with the avenues that is right for you, because there's so many, like they'll show you, like social media can show you whatever path you want to go on, and sometimes it can direct you to the path that you don't want and then you think it's bad, but or
Mhm.
that you're not fit for. But if you find the avenue that is right for you and it clicks with you and you're able to find a tribe that is suitable for you, and then you find that's when you find your your path, really.
Mm.
Like, cause then, and it takes trial and error. You're gonna have to fail. Like, I think I've talked to a couple of friends of mine. It's like it's hard for them to even try anything because their fear of failure. I think that's one another thing. It's like it's hard because it's not easy. You gotta fail. You're gonna. I've tried so many things, but I've failed many times. Like not so much failed, but like found out this isn't for me. Like, or it was just a part of my life where I had to do this and I had to do that. But now it's like okay, like I could really take this avenue or this path as far as I can. And I mean, also at the end of the day, I don't plan on banking on going back to school, but school's always going to be there. You can go back when you're 40 and still do the path. Yeah, you maybe
Hey, by the way, I
you
graduated 2 years ago. Okay, I'm 40 now. Just to let everybody know right now. Okay, so keep going, my friend.
universities are still going to take your money. I mean, so
Pardon my
like
French, but dead ass. I'm like, that's exactly what's happening here. Okay, I have a 150K debt, by the way. Okay, so I just want to alliterate that real quick. That's how you know.
and it's like okay, like they're for sure going to take it. Like you can do it, but your youth isn't always going to be there. Those opportunities for you to fail are not always going to be there. Like
Hmm.
so um but I mean to each is their own, and I think yeah, I mean at the end of the day, no matter even if you go to school and you fail and you have 150K in debt, I know people that did that get in debt, but then they did something totally different from what they were learning in school, and then they paid off their whole debt, and now they're in a whole new avenue, or they found their real purpose, and now they're doing great for themselves.
Which, by the
You
way,
know,
I'm
so
also doing, people. I took
it's
myself
like
out of
you
that
could
comfortability.
be in 150Ks in debt, do something after that schooling that's completely different from what you just learned, and then flourish in that avenue. So it's like it's all up to you on how you want to pursue, or even how you want to pursue your purpose. And
Hmm.
that's why I say chase your dream, chase your purpose, chase purpose and prosper. Because once you find your purpose, like I think even the hardships you will embrace,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you know that going through this hardship is what you have to do, and you'll be happy going through this hardship. I find myself like I remember it was rough days training, like as an MMA fighter, getting my ass beat, like um, but sometimes all I had was my radio and my car going home, and I was like completely happy because I just know that I'm accomplishing the goals that I always dreamt of as a kid. And
Hmm.
and like it was a rough day. I got my ass beat, but driving home I was happy. It was weird. I think I was like tears of joy one time. It was like, yeah, I got my ass beat, but shoot, it feels good to really be pursuing my goals. And now I'm here. It's part of the process. I understand it. So it's like it's crazy to me. You know what I mean? You start to embrace the process.
I mean, I'm right here doing a podcast right now. I never in the million years I would even be doing this, let alone even teaching people how energy works and everything, especially in our cultural norms. Do you know how many times I've been laughed at saying like, "Oh my God, like you're doing that"? Just to let y'all know, not even my family knows I have an office. That's how wild this is to me. I have an office, you guys, like literally. I actually just have a client that's from Bangladesh. I have a client from Bangladesh. Okay, so that tells you something. So if I don't know, like and this cultural situation, I think our parents forget, like, and no throwing shades. Like I said, everybody is comfortable with the whole 9 to 5 situation, and then going into the house and doing the normal things, right? There's no shade in that. But what I'm saying is that the fact that they are forgetting also our parents they also went through hardships, and this is probably why they're pushing us to become the way they want it to be, because they don't want us to feel that hardship. But the way I see it, I feel like people flourish more when they go through that hardship. Because look, our parents were actually immigrants, so they came in with nothing. Like, so if you really think about that, they really came with nothing. They didn't even realize that they were chasing the quote unquote the American dream. So their chasing of the American dream, what is the difference between us with the chasing of the American dream?
No, I agree. I think, yeah, no, that's true. Like, like in their current, like in their upbringing and situation, they chased the dream that they've always had. What they were, as when they were our age, that was their dream. That was their dream to accomplish, and they did do it, right? They did get to where they wanted to do. That's what they manifested when they said, "I want to do this, I want to do that." They had that desire, and they put the work behind it, and boom, like look at us, like look at me, like I'm very blessed to be in this position. But now I'm trying to step up, make that step, make my personal step to paving a way for my kids, and then when my kids are born, they're going to be having an avenue that's not something I could have accomplished. You know what I mean? Because their life is going to be totally different from when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
so it's a domino effect. But I can see how like some people can look at this and be like, oh, like uh like what's wrong with my life, this and that, you know what I mean? I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with your life. I like because I they chose to be comfortable. I say step out of your comfortability, you know what I mean? Maybe find something that you're uncomfortable with. And shoot, I mean, I don't knock the comfortability too. If you want to live in the and being comfortable, there's purpose in that too, like I think there's purpose in, we still do need nurses, we still do need doctors, we still do need all of those people. So if that is your purpose, that's your purpose. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, that's just personally what I think. There's a lot of, because I didn't choose it, then there's a lot of friction. I caused friction, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why it affected maybe sometimes relationships, affects different things like that. But I mean, if you choose that path, like people that are my age, if they choose, like my cousins, like they're all nurses, and for them to listen to our parents, like and my brother, he's gonna become a nurse. I say, I mean, if that's your path, then that's your path. But if you're not happy in that path, then for sure, like pursue something that will make you happy. And if within that path, maybe it was your calling to choose that and not cause friction, but then use that to you know create another path for yourself, then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, like, yeah, so
And I think
just
I know what your
just
perspective is saying, just for the record of the audience over here. Okay. So apparently we ended up getting a notification that it's gonna end in the next 10 minutes over here. So I'm going to stop recording real quick and then we're gonna snip it out on our next clip here. Okay. So stay tuned everybody. We'll be right back.